Hello, thank you for stopping on my video. My name is Becky and this is BecxReadz. I post videos every 5 days and if I can manage, I will squeeze some in between. And today is the start of another themed reading vlog. I have my piratey hat on today, as you can tell, and that is because I will be doing a pirate-themed reading vlog in collaboration with Jess at Honest Fiction. She will be posting a pirate vlog as well today, so go check her channel out. It will be linked down below. And I will have her vlog linked as well, so you can go see what she's reading. I started reading The Bright and Breaking Sea by Chloe Neal. This is an adult historical fantasy piratey story, and it is about a woman who is a pirate captain. I haven't gotten too far into it. I am only on page 15. So nothing has happened yet. It's just introducing us to Captain Kit, who is our pirate. Yeah, I'm not even far enough along to tell you what this is about, quite honestly. I think there's some magic involved with like ley lines because that has been talked about. The other one that I have started is I Married a Pirate by Athena Rose, I believe. This is a historical fantasy romance as well. So I'm about 20% into this right now, and it is about a young woman who, she comes from a wealthy family, and she has been put into an arranged marriage since she was a baby to the prince of this kingdom. She has just turned 21 and they have just announced their engagement ball when something happens and this pirate comes along and her father owes him debts. So the pirate challenges him to a card game and he says, if I win, you will give me your daughter and all of your holdings. And if you win, we'll forget the debt. Well, naturally the pirate wins. So his daughter has to marry this pirate who is about 15 years her senior. So far, this is giving me the Swan Princess vibes a lot. Like, our character's name is Georgette Odette. She is blonde. In the beginning of the story, we meet Prince Edward, who she has been engaged to since she was born. There was this line in there where she asks, what do you like about me? And he says she's very beautiful, and she's like, but what else? I mean, hello. That is straight up Swan Princess vibes if you ask me. This also introduced the fact that Prince Edward's brother, who is her betrothed, went missing on the seas, and he has been looking for him ever since. And immediately I was like, is this pirate going to be his long lost brother? And thankfully, because this is right in the beginning of the story, I don't feel like it's spoilers. The author doesn't even try to hide the fact that yes, this pirate is Prince Edward's older brother. Hopefully their chemistry picks up a little bit more because I haven't really felt any chemistry between any of the characters so far. But I'm interested in this whole older man, lost prince, now a pirate dynamic. I have an update for you on the books. I finished both of them. I Married a Pirate, I think where I left off, she had just been forced into an arranged marriage with this pirate Captain Stone, who was the long-lost brother of her once-betrothed Prince Edward. Captain Stone is on this mission to reach this island that is surrounded by sirens to try and get a hold of all of the pirate treasure. But once he gets there, he realizes that all the pirate treasure has been taken by Isis because he stole something from Isis and she wants it back. So she's keeping it until he returns whatever it is he stole. In the process, Prince Edward is chasing after Georgette and Stone because he doesn't know that she's already married to him and he wants her back. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. It was a really quick read. It was a really easy read. I liked the brother dynamic in this story. I liked the piratey seafaring adventures, of course. I liked the combination of like Egyptian and Greek mythology because we hear about Isis and Poseidon in this story. Although they don't play a big role, I thought that was a neat story element. What I didn't love about this book, though, is it is predictable AF. Most of the things that I think were supposed to be plot twists, like the author had already alluded to within the first 30% of the book. So by the time those things showed up, I was like, well, that was obvious. I was just waiting for the characters to catch up to what I already knew. I didn't love that this was told in third person because a lot of it was Captain Stone this and Captain Stone that and Captain's... And I'm just like, I get it. I know who we're talking about. I don't need to hear Captain Stone, Captain Stone, Captain Stone every fucking sentence, you know? And while I thought these characters had good chemistry because he is about 15 years older than Georgette, and he is a very slicey and dicey pirate. He has no problem killing people in front of her. He seems very badass. And throughout the story, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get some spice with this story because they have a lot of tension between them. They have their little teasy moments of touching one another and getting really close, but then somebody will interrupt them and it won't happen. He's even told her, you know, I'm not going to force you into consummating this marriage. I'm going to wait until you beg for it. So I'm like, okay, we're going to get some fun times. And we'll get some like heavy petting and they'll be interrupted. So by the time we get to the first smut scene, I was blue-balled. I was cock-blocked. I was teased because this is closed fucking door. And I was just like, are you joking right now? You teased me up until this point. You were saying things and you were like touching each other and building this up to a closed door. And then after they had their first sex scene, like, did they really have sex? Because I didn't see it. I certainly didn't think that it was happening until you told me that it had. It was almost like their tension sort of just dissipated. Like, they didn't have their little touchy moments. They didn't have their little teasing moments anymore. And so I was disappointed. I was like, no. Because I was expecting this to be smutty. Because she had alluded. She had built up this teasing atmosphere. And then you do that to me? No, sorry. I won't be continuing this series, and it was just okay. The other book I finished was The Bright and Breaking Sea by Chloe Neal. So this is not as piratey as I thought it was going to be. It is seafaring. The majority of this book takes place on a boat on the sea, which I had a fun freaking time with. However, it's more sailor than pirate. So we are following Kit, who is a female captain of the Queen's own naval ship. She is sent out to find things and do things for the Queen. And she is forced to work with this army soldier captain named Captain Grant. They are sent on this mission to find this man that was kidnapped by pirates because he is an ally to the Queen and he has information that the Queen needs. So the plot of this book is Kit and Captain Grant and their shipmates all trying to go to this pirate island to capture this man. These two, Kit and Grant, they have some animosity towards one another. Like, he doesn't want to be on this ship and she doesn't want him on this ship because he's like a ex-soldier. He's very high up in the higher class and she doesn't like the higher class. So they have some tension between them and they are attracted to one another. And they have witty banter with one another. But this book in itself, there's no romance per se. There is a stolen kiss and you can tell there's attraction between Kit and Grant, but nothing comes of it. So when I started reading this, I really didn't know how I was going to feel about it because for the first chapter I wasn't really paying attention, but something happened and I got hooked into this book. I had a good time with this book. This is a seafaring adventure and I had a grand old time with that. They are battling the elements, they are battling these pirates, they are sort of battling this other group of sailors that are trying to find this man also. Meanwhile, this has like a tad of magical realism to it, not a whole lot. Kit has an affinity for the water. She can't manipulate it, but she can sense what it's feeling and how it's like interacting with other things in the water. And I thought that was a really nice, just little added magical element to it. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars because I had such a fun time with this. The only thing that would have made it a 5-star read for me is if there had been just a tad more romance to this story. And I would have liked to see Kit and Grant acknowledge some sort of romance brewing between them. That is the only thing that I didn't like about this book. But this was a fun time despite it not being exactly a pirate story. So on to the next books that I am reading currently for this vlog. The first is Beneath Black Sails. This is, I believe, a new adult fantasy romance involving pirates. I am only about, I think, 15% into this, so I'm not very far. We are following this Fae sea witch pirate. She wants to be the captain of her own ship. They dock at this port, and when they're there, she spots this boat, and immediately she's like, I want that boat. Problem is, that boat belongs to the pirate hunter who is trying to capture her. So they end up at this party ball type thing where she encounters him, and he has no idea that she is the pirate that he is supposed to capture. And she ends up escaping. He decides that the way to catch her is to sort of lure her out by pretending that he found the treasure that her captain is looking for. And that is where I am at currently with this story. And the physical book that I am reading now is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I'm hoping I enjoy this one because I wasn't able to get into her Daevabad trilogy. I believe it is about this woman named Amina who was once a pirate and then she retired and something has lured her back into being a pirate. So I just started it. Like, I haven't even started chapter 1 yet. I just read like the prologue or whatever. So please let me get into this book. It has been about a week since I started this vlog, and these last 2 books were not winners. I have my sunglasses on because I'm about to go outside, so I guess I could take them off for the purpose of this video. But it is a beautiful day outside, and I'm going to go do some yard work because yard work always makes me feel so accomplished, and it's just nice to be outside. Anyway, tangent. Okay, so I DNF'd Beneath Black Sails. This, I just didn't love the main character. She seemed like she was trying too hard to be sassy, and I didn't like her character. I also just didn't care about her whole mission to get a ship of her own. It wasn't working for me. I am also DNFing The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I didn't get very far into this. I got to chapter 8. I read that much, and I struggled to read that much. It was really forcing myself to read it. And once I put it down, I just never had any desire to pick it back up. It was just way too slow moving for me. However, I did start reading Sea of Roses by Opal Rain. And this, I couldn't figure out why her name sounded so familiar to me until I looked up her backlist. And I realized that I have read one of her other monster romance books, the A Soul to Keep, which is in her Dustwalker Bride series. So I started this one, and I am enjoying this one. I am almost done with it by the time I'm telling you about it. I am about 80% into it at this point. So this is a pirate romance story about Alistair and Rosetta, or Rosette. I'm not sure how you say her name. But he is a pirate captain, a very ruthless pirate captain. He has no problem slicing and dicing. And he commandeers a trading ship one day. His crew is like, yo, captain, there's a woman on this ship. What do we do? And he is, you find out that he's a bit of a mama's boy. He loved his mother, and his mother always told him to do what he could to protect those weaker than him. So he goes and he brings this woman, Rosette, onto his ship. She has apparently been through some stuff. She wants to get back to a certain ship that she came from, and so he's trying to help her with that. This is a bit of a slower paced book because most of it is just like seafaring adventures. They're just on the ship, they're getting to know one another. She's like doing stuff on his ship and helping out in the best way she can and all that. But I love their banter. I love their chemistry together. It's sort of this not wanting to be attracted to each other, but they are. I love her feistiness. She's a very smart and feisty character. I love the action on the sea. I love withstanding the elements. I love the sword fights and the swashbuckling fun. It's just a great time for me. I'm thinking this will probably be the last book of this vlog, just because I'm going on about week 2, and I don't want to burn myself out on the piratey stories because I do love them. Once I finish this, I will give you my final updates, but come along with me and let's do some yard work. It's all mowed. Now I am just going to rake it after I sit down and have me a frozen pop that I've had in my freezer for like 2 years. But it's the only time I eat these things is when I'm doing yard work. I don't know why. It's cool. It keeps me cool. So. finished reading A Sea of Roses by Opal Rain, and this one I think I am going to give 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I really did. I can't really tell you too much more about it because if I told you too much about it, it would be a spoiler for this book because the spoiler really does kick in pretty early into the story. I, of course, loved the seafaring adventures of this story. This is definitely a pirate romance. Like, these people, piratey AF. They are slashy, they are stabby, they are looters, they do all the pirate stuff. I also really got connected to the side characters of this story, and I felt for them, and it felt like a found family atmosphere, which y'all know is one of my favorite things as well. So I loved that. The ending, oh my god, the ending. Talk about heartbreaking. The things I didn't like about this book. As with the other Opal Rain book I read, A Soul to Keep, I felt like this book dragged on way too long. And this is only like half the length of her A Soul to Keep book. This is only 378 pages, but I felt like chapters could have been cut. She could have condensed some chapters down, and it wouldn't have made a difference within the story. Because it took me, I want to say, almost a week to finish this book. 378 pages. I don't know why. It just felt like some of the chapters dragged out exceedingly long. The other thing I didn't particularly love about this story is Alistair's attitude toward Rosette. Once he acknowledges his attraction to her, he starts treating her like she's helpless. And she's not. She is a badass, kick-ass, strong, intelligent woman. And he does this thing where he will question what she's doing, what she's saying, and he will get angry at that. And then he'll figure out, oh, this is why she's saying or doing that. And he'll be like, oh, she really knows what she's doing. And then a few chapters later, he'll do it again. He'll question why she's doing something. He doesn't think she's capable of doing what she's doing. She will prove him wrong. And then he'll be like, oh, I understand it now. And then he would do it again. And it got very repetitive. I'm like, dude, you are getting on my flippin' nerves, because she never questioned his attitudes and the things he was doing. She had total confidence in him. And he was just wishy-washy, and I didn't enjoy that aspect of it. And the only other thing I didn't love about this was there were some grammatical errors throughout the story. There were numerous of them. And I'm not just talking about like the Australian English versus like American English, because she did address that in the beginning of this book, saying like, you know, I'm writing this in Australian English, certain words are spelled differently, certain phrases are said. Not that. There were words that were missing in sentences. There were words that were switched around in sentences. There were words that just had like a letter missing from them. I think it just needed to go fine-tuned through an editor. That being said, this does have a sequel. It is a duology. And I do plan on reading it because I enjoyed this relationship, and that ending really made me want to continue reading it. I'm just not in a hurry because of how long this took me to read. But if you are looking for a pirate romance, this is definitely that. And if you liked Opal Rain's monster romance series, I think if you're into pirates, you will like this one as well. That is all I have for you guys on this pirate-themed reading vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Jess, for wanting to collab with me on this video idea. Let me know down in the comments, do you love pirates? If you have a pirate romance recommendation, leave it down below for me. And if you have made it this far in the video, could you leave me the crossbones emoji? Go read a pirate book for me. Bye.